Hey there everybody, it is Poober here for episode 22 of my Factorio series. Thank you for joining me. In the most recent episodes, I've actually talked about having to do a combat type of episode in the next coming episodes, but I think the day has come, or at least it is coming a little bit earlier than I expected because the biters are beginning to encroach more and more on my territory. In fact, they've been beginning to attack my steam engine setup over here to the south, and I don't actually have a very good way of defending myself. You can see here if I click on the turret range, this is basically all that I have. So should the biters come in anywhere besides this kind of general area over here to the west, I would be in big trouble. So the top priorities today are getting a better defense set up for the new base, and then hopefully setting up a new armory. Before I get too carried away in my real world, I'm back in my creative world just to show what I've been working on for the last couple of hours in my downtime. This is my new armory. So this is something I hope to install in the regular base. This is basically building every type of ammo or combat bot or any type of basically defense or offense type component here. It's a little bit different than the armory I had in my previous 0.16 series. You guys might recognize this from the 0.16 map. It basically took kind of a V shape where it tapered off at the ends, but this is basically just one long rectangle. So the challenge here, I think, will be to find a place to put it in the base because, of course, as you guys know, my base is circular shaped, or at least the new base is, and that's where I intend on putting this type of armory. But exactly where is a little bit of a mystery to me. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have to delete one of these paths or something like that to make room for it, or if I have to cut the armory in half or something like that. But this is actually something that I'm pretty proud of. I've spent a couple hours working on it. It does, like I said, everything military-wise that you could possibly think of. So it's definitely something that I want to get installed as soon as possible because I definitely need to increase my defense and offense capabilities for that matter. I don't have any ammo production done at the new base quite yet, let alone any of the upgraded ammo or cannon shells or things like that I'm definitely going to be needing. My poison capsules, slowdown capsules, grenades, things like that. Those are all things I will definitely be needing. But I may be a little ways off before I can actually make use of this in the real base because I still don't have any production of red circuits or uranium-235 or 238 for that matter, and basically a lot of things that are going to have to end up going into the new base. So this is just basically a preview of what is hopefully to come. But with that said, I do still have another factory to show off. This is going to be a factory for my armory. And what I mean by that is that this is going to be an area where I can suit up, kind of like if I were Batman and putting on my bat suit. This is what I would be doing to equip myself. So pretend that this is kind of the circle that you guys have seen for the mall in my regular base. I've got boxes kind of through here like that. Not quite like that, but you guys can kind of get my meaning. So basically, on the inner portion of that circle where I have my mall, I'm planning on having my armory. And all I need is actually 2 quadrants of the 4 total to make up everything that I need in terms of stuff that goes in my suit or the suit itself. But this will produce basically all of the upgraded suit components that I should need. The top left quadrant in particular is the more popular items, or at least the end game items. So the end game batteries, the fusion reactor, the max MK2 suit or something like that, the shields, the laser defense system, the exoskeleton, the night vision, and then the stuff over here to the lower right quadrant is actually more of the lower tier stuff, but probably the stuff that I have the capability of unlocking right off the bat, since I don't have quite everything over here researched or the capability to make it quite yet. So I'm talking about things like the light armor. I even have production of shotgun and pistol because those are things that, if you guys remember from previous episode, will be going into my filters for the cars. I have my portable solar panels, and then I have my personal robo bays. I have the personal, let's see, I've never actually even used this. What is this? Oh, the discharge defense, and then I have the new, like, what's this called? Belt immunity equipment, which I've never played with that before, but I'm looking forward to it. So basically between these two quadrants, this composes my entire suit armory section, whereas the section up here is for my militarization. So hopefully at least parts of these components can be installed today. This here obviously will be the easier thing to install, but the problem with this is that it requires bots to deliver the materials, and I don't yet even have the requester chests researched yet, because that requires utility science, which I do not have yet the capability of producing. So that's going to be a problem, but I at least can lay down the assemblers. I've already got this blueprinted, so at this point let's just head back onto the main base, and then we'll see exactly where we can start installing this stuff and hopefully start defending myself in the real world. So the big question is, where do I want to put my militarization area, which is what is going to be creating all of my ammo and my offense type products. And I need to basically find a place that is long enough to house it. I'm really considering the fact that I'm going to have to delete one of my walkways, which is really unfortunate, but if I have it up over here, I potentially don't need this vertical walkway because I already have a walkway, where is it? Right here, that's going to be going from basically middle and upwards, so I can always use that if needed. Or I could always just, you know, do what other people do that don't account for walkways and things like that, and just basically walk through my factory, which is not the end of the world. So let's bring that over and just see just how big it is. Okay, so it's actually not as big as I thought it would be. It's definitely on the long side though, so it technically could probably fit. I mean, this is where it would fit. Like, that's how it would have to go, pretty much. So the question is whether I want to do that or not, or whether I want to get away with splitting it in half. But the problem with that is, where did that go? There's not really a good way to split it in half because basically there's a lot of direct insertion going on. Pretty much every component in here is reliant on the component or the assembler next to it or the belt next to it. So it's all very interlinked. So it's not like it's a very good spot to split it in half, which would be, I think the natural half would be like right here-ish. So I've probably ruled that out. Let's see. Let me think here if there's any other options I could possibly get away with, and then I'll be right back with my decision. And it better be pretty quick because I'm already beginning to get attacked. Oh boy, biters are in the base. They're fighting some of my bots. I'm doubting the bots are winning. Oh gosh, these are big, beefy guys too. Thankfully, they're more preoccupied with fighting the bots instead of my stuff, but you can see here why there's definitely like a need to get this up and running as soon as possible. But what I'm actually thinking as I was making my way over here to defend against those biters is I do have one naturally flat area in the base, and the one area I'm talking about is actually the area where I have my current, or at least my future planned light banner. Not this one, this is the logo banner, or logo light art thingy, whatever you want to call it, but this area we should be approaching here in just a minute. This area, so this is kind of like the one naturally flat area, perfectly rectangular shaped, and it's in the middle, so I wouldn't have to necessarily like go too far one way or the other into the other two circles to get kind of stuff or supplies, in my opinion, that should be more centrally located. So let's see just how long it is compared to my current thing. Oh, definitely too long, but let's see. I could move over my circles though. I basically, what I'm saying is I could redo this if I wanted to. I could basically just move over the top left and right circles and this walkway like over, just more up and over in each direction to make room for the armory or military area in this section here, where we would put the banner. I'm not 100% sure. We could move that above it, I suppose. That wouldn't be a horrible idea. But I think this is actually what I'm leaning towards, to be honest. Like, coming into this episode, this was not a thought that even crossed my mind, but like walking past this just seems kind of like the perfect area to put it. And I guess if I didn't have this art logo thing here, I could also put it here, but it's already too late for that, unless I want to move my art logo. Where would I move that, though? Let's see, where is that? Right here. Okay. So it will just barely not fit within the bounds of this area here. Although that would look pretty cool. Let me think about a couple things and then I will be back. Alright, I've made up my mind. I really don't want to get rid of this here in the middle. This is really intended to be kind of true center of all three circles, and that is why I placed it here to begin with. So this is staying where it is. And even if I wanted to move it and replace it with my armory or the light factory up here, one problem with either of those options is that, where'd that go? This would give me a hard time walking from this walkway down below because I would have all of these assemblers to walk through, so that would be a pain in the butt. One nice thing about having this here is that you can walk through the lights basically without getting impeded by that. There's no resistance to it basically. And then the other thing is looking at the blueprint a little bit more closely. It's really not requiring too much movement of my circles either to the left or the right. It's basically just a matter of a few tiles, to be honest. So I'm going to be one of those people. I really am. I'm going to basically move or at least part of my base over by literally just a few tiles to make this work. But I think it will be worth it in the end. That is part of the reason why I haven't built these yet. Well, I guess that's partly built, unfortunately. I don't know why. Maybe I did that by hand. I don't even remember. But the majority of these circles are still ghosted in, so I can easily just kind of take a blueprint, which will be my first step basically, and then delete it and move it over by a couple tiles. Do the same with the other side. Get rid of this. We'll put in the new military section in this general area here, where it's just basically the perfect, convenient place for it. And then I'm thinking we'll move the light banner just above it. And then the other thing in the future I'm planning is actually putting in a rail system that will be very flat up here, basically extending horizontally in this direction. So we'll have tons of rail networks above the light banner and above all of my circles, but that is definitely way down the line. We're not even at the point where I necessarily need trains yet. But I'm definitely preparing for it and thinking about that. But I think that means it is time to get to work. I need to do a lot of base remodeling, so let's just get started and get it over with. This is where any type of infinizoom or zoom sort of thing in the game would come in handy, because you could actually, instead of having to walk from one end of the map to the other, you could basically just zoom out and delete it all at once. But I don't have that installed at the moment, so the trick is just to be really careful, because I do have a biter nest up here. I swear this wasn't here like 4 episodes ago. These guys have just moved in, and that's why it's becoming a bit of a dire situation with needing to get military up and running. And that's really where kind of the challenge comes with the game for me, or at least part of the challenge is, because as you guys know, I'm a slow player. I definitely take my time. So the problem with that, though, is that even though the base turns out looking really cool, I end up like out of nowhere just being really unprepared when it comes to the natural enemy in the game, which is of course the biters. So that is something that I have to improve upon, or at least get a healthy balance with, and I'm not very good at it. So Let's try and finish getting rid of these ghosts without getting aggro. I think I will be okay as long as I keep my distance. But man, this is just a pain in the butt to move it. But I am still very thankful that it's just ghosted in right now. It's not actually the real thing, or else it would be 10 times harder. Alright, I essentially have a clean slate. So where's that circle? Oh no. Did I really only take half of the blueprint? Oh man. Please tell me I was smart and saved it elsewhere. Oh no. Well, apparently I didn't save the blueprint to my main map, but thankfully I have a copy here in my creative world, so I'm just going to copy that and carry it back over to my regular map. Thankfully I have this, or else I would be in major trouble otherwise. And there we go. See you guys back to the main map. Okay, where were we? Where'd that go? It is right there. So at this point, it's just making sure we have proper clearance of the armory, which is probably the smarter thing to lay down first, to be honest. So with this blueprint, there's actually a lot of superfluous things that I don't plan on needing necessarily, although I will probably want some cars coming in through the bottom, like horizontally this way. So that's something to think about. In fact, how much clearance do I have over here? So let's just plan on that. So we'll use this as a reference. So I don't want it any more narrow than this. So that has to be like the bottom-most point of the belt there. I'm just trying to think of everything. That seems fairly center to me. Oh boy. Let's just do it. Let's put it there. We can always get rid of it if needed. And looks like I actually should have moved it over by tile. Actually though, I'm trying to compare it to this section here, but really the actual factory doesn't start until a couple more tiles over. So maybe let's redo that. I know there's like a lot of stuff going on here. You can just ignore that. That's stuff that will get cleaned up eventually. So where'd that blueprint go? Let's try take two. Take two, but this time taking into account a couple other things. Let's try it right there, I think. Like I said, this stuff over here that's kind of overlapping into the walkway and stuff like that would be cleaned up, I would imagine, or at least I would hope. So give me a minute just to kind of review this, how it's laid out. I can make further adjustments if needed, but otherwise, the next step will be getting in the circles, which I did bring those over. Where are those? Here we go. So it's basically just a matter of putting in the walkway again to make sure I have clearance, and then putting in the circle adjacent to that. So I'll be right back once all of the ghosts are placed. Sometime later, and all of the new ghosts have been placed. They're of course not installed yet. That will take some time. And even if it were installed, I don't yet have a delivery for the items to feed into the new military area. So I think one of the first things I'll have to do is actually fill in at least one of these circles, either the top left or top right one, because from one of these circles, I'm actually be having one of the cars, or I'm sure several cars, kind of stray off from probably one of these points over here and go in more of a horizontal manner to go in kind of a loop around this new military area and then make its way back onto the main circle system. I haven't quite ironed out those details yet, but I am hopefully planning on those things and have made enough room for those things. I've got at least 5 tiles between the wall here and any sort of factory. So there's 5 tiles between this wall and the military factory, and there are 5 tiles between this wall and the car at the most narrow point, which is this section here. And that way I have plenty of room for the roboports and stuff like that that will likely need to be fitting along this narrow portion here. And that way there is still plenty of clearance for the cars to make their way through the circle without catching on anything. So hopefully I'm thinking about everything, but I know I said that a couple of episodes as well. So there may be something I'm missing or I'm just not thinking about. So if you guys can think of anything, please leave a comment or a suggestion in the comment section down below, because I definitely would have a much easier time repairing this stuff or ripping it up or just deleting these ghosts while they are still ghosts, for that matter, instead of having to do it when I'm already like 30 episodes in and fully established. So please give me your guys' feedback. So at this point, it's just a matter of installing stuff and kind of starting somewhere in terms of where to start. I think a good place would be to actually increase my RoboPort range, because as of right now, this is basically as far as they go. And I know one problem with me installing stuff is that means that there will be parts of my factory that turns on, thereby increasing my pollution, thereby increasing the biter problems. So it's kind of like a positive feedback loop, unfortunately. But I've got to get started somewhere. I mean, I can't just not install it now. So let me go ahead and just get started with that now. So I guess kind of first order of business, because I do want to get this circle to the left installed. I need to expand my robo coverage over there, but I also think I want to take my tank out and get rid of at least probably these 4 nests, which are basically right next to the circle. Let's see, am I gonna... Oh, shoot! Oh, no. I thought I could just run over them without actually taking damage, just like you can walk over them without, like, any, what do you call it, like, hitbox effect. Whoops, I was wrong. Oh, man. Let's take out this one first. Hopefully these aren't going to be a problem. I guess I should have grabbed grenades when I was over there. I don't really have too many on me now. Just 37. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my gosh. I haven't actually died yet in this series. I don't want to do it now. Alright, I've survived Spider Nest 1. Oh no! Wait, no! Shoot! No! Run away! Run away! No! Oh, oh, gosh. I thought we were a goner for a minute there. Oh my goodness. So looking at me, here's me. It's already made it through the junction. So good so far. So the trick will be if it can make its way clockwise to this filter up here. Did I prime that? Crap, I can't remember if I did. I feel like I did. And here we are, rounding the last bend in this experiment called life. Here, the single car approaches said junction. Will it make it? Please work. No! 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 Why? Take 3? Why? This is not working. I put it? It's like getting caught. There we go. Phew, I think all it took was a wall just to make just to keep it aligned properly. That's all it needed. A couple of hours and a stream later, it is now time to do some testing. Now, I'm getting a little bit desperate because, as you can see, I'm actually getting attacked at the moment. I've had lots of biters come in, encroaching even further into my territory, which is not okay because I don't have any means right now to really defend myself properly. My spaghetti base over here has run out of coal, so I have no way to power it really. I've only got 1,000 coal left in this patch, which is definitely not cutting it, and the light oil into the solid fuel is also not keeping up. So that's basically turned off, unable to produce any more ammo or products for me right now. So I have to get this up and running basically yesterday. So it's not quite as done as I wish it would be. I still have another circle that I will need to get installed to actually have the cars like circle back on and have somewhere to go, because as of right now, after they get off of this line here, they're basically going to stop where the belt stops up here. Actually, it'll stop here where the trees intersect with it, but regardless, I can still send a car or a couple cars this way with some items in it, and then A, will be testing it and making sure it works, but B, will actually be able to get some sort of production going on with those limited supplies going on. Before we get to the testing phase, though, I will add that I actually edited the blueprint here a little bit. Now, prior to me working on this most recently, I actually had planned an input of a car going from top and bottom. And since then, I decided that that was a little too much trouble to worry about a car also having to come in underneath the factory here. So I've only added in a belt supply over here at the top, so all of my input of products will be coming in from the top here. What that means is I also had to change around a couple of my belt configurations. I had to do some weird belt braiding mess over here, but it also kind of cleaned up some things, because that means whereas my input is all coming from the top, my output will also be only on the bottom, so it'll be easier to access. I don't have to worry about where all of my materials are. It should just be quick and easy to go right here at the bottom, and it's a little bit cleaner looking that way. So enough talking, more doing, because I am running out of time and resources. I am going to have to worry about these spider nests. This one in particular is actually in what is intended to be the circle here. So I'm imagining that right now, whereas I don't have any pollution here, that's why it hasn't been attacked. But as soon as this starts running, it may cause further aggro between the biters. So let's actually see how it does, though. I've got to add more filters to my car. I did have a car kind of set aside that had a filter already on it, but I destroyed it, I think. I've actually run into a couple car jam problems as well during the live stream and even off camera, which I've been dealing with, which has cost me even more time. So it's just so imperative that I get up and running ASAP, basically. Actually, I'm thinking, let me copy a condition from, we'll do this car here. Copy. Let's put that there, and then I can modify this. So this one will be the small electrical pole filter. This allows me to also recycle my early game items, since I don't really have a use for small electrical poles at this point, so it's just a good way of recycling it and having it come in handy. Sure, this is a good place to start. I don't have the bulk of these materials anyway. I'll just put a couple things in there. Eventually, I'll have to add in filters like things for explosives and uranium-235 and 238 and things like that. That will be making its way eventually to the military area. But for now, this will do. It just has to have the bare essentials. Oh, and I keep getting attacked. It's my steam and my coal over here that have been the primary targets. I was able to go back to Spaghetti Base and just pick up some last-minute batteries that were on the belts and make a couple laser turrets, but they're not surviving very long. Okay, I keep saying enough talking, but I'm not doing enough. So, oh, I need to put the power pole in. Oh, there it is. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Okay. Have to get ammo. I literally don't have... Well, I guess I do literally have ammo, but this is all I have between what's in my inventory. I don't have much else apart from that, so this will go on its way. The filter should work, so up here, because I have the filter set to a small electrical pole... Oh, there's copper right there. The car should make its way over here and eventually get up here to the top. But, oh my god, I have got to respond to that. Hopefully I can get back in time before I lose power. But hopefully we'll be able to see some progress with the armory in just a minute. Oh my gosh. My poor steam engine setup, and I don't have any stone on me to make the boilers by hand. Crap. What I can do, and I don't have any laser turrets to replace the ones that are dead. I'm just gonna have to put what little ammo I have in my inventory in here. And just hope for the best. Hope that my armory can start working. But it's getting a little hairy over here. Oh, by the way, so the car must have passed through the filter, which is the section over here. So hopefully in just a couple seconds, it should be hitting the next filter. The tricky part will be making sure that the car, ooh, I should have deleted that, actually goes on into the armory section, because in my testing phase during the live stream, I noticed that it was tending to not fit, and it would just, even though the filter was working, it would just continue on through the regular portion of the circle. So I hope it works. All right, moment of truth. Here the car comes down. Ah, yes, it worked. All it takes is the right combination of belts or walls to kind of redirect it where it needs to go. Oh, it's working. I've got shells getting produced. Oh, and I don't have any steel because it didn't make its way through the rotation. Crap, I should have planned a little bit better and put some more stuff in its inventory. Don't have a lot of these supplies. But if it could just give a little bit of, you know, even the regular ammo, this yellow stuff here, with just pure iron, I would be happy. It would be better than having no ammo production at all. Eventually, like I said, I'll have to extend the circle all the way around and add another connection between this circle and the bottom circle so that it can actually refuel or basically resupply with my loading area over here. But this is at least a partial success, and you can see here now I'm getting a little bit of pollution. Hopefully my factory doesn't get destroyed in the process, but this car should make its way to the end over there. But in the meantime, let me finish fixing my steam engine setup and trying to defend a little bit over here, and then I'll see you guys back in just a minute. Well, it's not perfect, but it is working. Eventually, I will be able to get stack filters and stack inserters that will actually improve the rate at which it's able to pull from the car and put into the box. So for now, it's kind of slow going, especially because I only have a couple cars headed in the direction of the military section. You can see there's a couple more on their way, but it's certainly not enough to keep up with my military demands for right now. Still, it is better than nothing, which is something I'm grateful for. I've got bots slowly just giving me a little bit of ammo at a time, and I'm trying to defend myself, although I think the biters are evolving and moving into areas quicker than I can defend. So I'm going to have to be very proactive to get rid of the biters as soon as I have a little bit more ammo, including cannon shells on me than I currently have. I do have one more project that I have planned before calling this an episode here, and that will be installing the armory section that will be going into these quadrants here. Let's see if I have the blueprint on hand, which I do right here. And I'm going to overlay it. And it should just basically sit on top of everything that's already installed, I would think. Whoops. There we go. Oh, I do have to get rid of that, and we won't need those, although I do have to relay that. So that was right there. Oh, there's a couple other things I have to get rid of, apparently. Let's get rid of the lights that are in my way. I think those stay. Let's get rid of the lights on this side. And then we'll take out the walls in the sections that we don't need them. Okay, let's try this one last time here. Much better. And then I can use my upgrade planner to kind of downgrade the assemblers here because I don't yet have assembly of the Assembler 3 machines, so those have to get downsized to just the Assembler 2s, but that is not a big deal. We can actually also do the same with inserters, which I should have added in that. There we go. Now this won't technically begin to work because I don't yet have the requester chests, but hopefully I'll be getting that soon. That will require yellow science, as I've mentioned, which I don't even have any science over here yet. But the next step on my way towards that will be getting red circuits up and running, which I'm hoping to do in next episode, episode 23, and that will require tapping into some new oil areas. So there's this option over here, as well as this one, which is having a pretty good yield. And I'll probably have to get rid of a couple biter nests in between now and then. But that is the plan for next episode, so I hope you guys will join me for that. Let me know what you think of my progress so far, having just finished with episode 22, and I will plan on seeing you guys next time.